Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Bhaktajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Natari Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada 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 Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today we are going to read and study from the Bhagavad-gita. The chapter is the 7th, and the text is number 16. So please repeat. Chaturvidha bhajante mam jana sukritina Arjuna Artha Jigyasu Artharti Jnani Cha Bharatarshava Chaturvida bhajante mam Jana Sukritinarjuna Arto Jigyasurartarti Jnani Cha Bharatarshava Chaturvida bhajante mam Jana Sukritinarjuna Arto Jigyasurartarti Jnani Cha Bharatarshava Chaturvida bhajante mam Jana Sukritinarjuna Arto Jigyasurartarti Jnani Cha Bharatarshava
Chaturvida bhajante mam Jana Sukritino Arjuna Arto Jigyasurartarti Jnani Cha Bharatarshava
Render service mam unto me Jana persons Sukritina those who are pious Arjuna Artha the distressed Jigyasu the inquisitive Artha one who desires material gain Jnani one who knows things as they are Cha also Bharata Rishava O great one amongst the descendants of Bharata. Translation, O best among the Bharatas, 4 kinds of pious men begin to render devotional service unto me. The distressed, the desire of wealth, the inquisitive, and he who is searching for knowledge of the Absolute. The following purport was written by His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Unlike the miscreants, these are adherents of the regulative principles of the scriptures, and they are called Sukritina, on those who obey the rules and regulations of scriptures, the moral and social laws, and are more or less devoted to the Supreme Lord. Out of these, there are 4 classes of men: those who are sometimes distressed, those who are in need of money, those who are sometimes inquisitive, and those who are sometimes searching after knowledge of the absolute truth. These persons come to the Supreme Lord for devotional service under different conditions. These are not pure devotees because they have some aspiration to fulfill in exchange for devotional service. Pure devotional service is without aspiration and without desire for material profit. The Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.1.11 defines pure devotion thus: Anyabhilashita sunyam jnana karma jnanavritam anukulyana krishna no shilanam bhaktir uttama. One should render transcendental loving service to the Supreme Lord, Krishna, favorably and without desire for material profit or gain, through fruitive activities or philosophical speculation. That is called pure devotional service. When these four kinds of persons come to the Supreme Lord for devotional service and are completely purified by the association of a pure devotee, they also become pure devotees. As far as the miscreants are concerned, for them devotional service is very difficult, because their lives are selfish, irregular, and without spiritual goals. But even some of them, by chance, when they come in contact with a pure devotee, also become pure devotees. Those who are always busy with fruitive activities come to the Lord in material distress, and at that time associate with pure devotees and become, in their distress, devotees of the Lord. Those who are simply frustrated also come sometimes to associate with the pure devotees and become inquisitive to know about God. Similarly, when the dry philosophers are frustrated in every field of knowledge, they sometimes want to learn of God, and they come to the Supreme Lord to render devotional service, and thus transcend knowledge of the impersonal Brahman and the localized Paramatma and come to the personal conception of Godhead, by the grace of the Supreme Lord or his pure devotee. On the whole, when the distressed, the inquisitive, the seekers of knowledge, and those who are in need of money are free from all material desires, and when they fully understand that material renunciation has nothing to do with spiritual improvement, they become pure devotees. As long as such a purified stage is not attained, devotees in transcendental service to the Lord, attainted with fruitive activities, the search for mundane knowledge, etc. So one is to transcend all this before one can come to the stage of pure devotional service. Chaturvita bhajante mam janasu kritinorjuna arto jigyasur artharti jnani cha bharatarshaba. O best among the Bharatas, four kinds of pious men begin to render devotional service unto me: the distressed, the desire of wealth, the inquisitive, and who is searching for knowledge of the Absolute. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Iti Namine Namaste Sarasvati Deve Gauravani Pracharyane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Hare Krishna to all the devotees. First of all, I want to, not many, but thank you very much if you came. This is my first class in English here in Vrindavana after so many years, and thank you for the opportunity to say something about Krishna. There is a very nice verse, the Srimad Bhagavatam, who says that that anyone who wants liberation from the material world or devotional service, and we are going to say something about different stages of devotional service, is always willing to hear the virtuous glories of the Lord. The virtuous glory of the Lord does not mean only the pastimes. Of course, everyone likes pastimes, but also the name, because without name you cannot understand pastimes. So the name is always number one. You can understand the name without pastimes, but not vice versa. But also philosophy. Philosophy is very important. That's why we have every day classes on Bhagavatam and Bhagavad-gita, and I don't know if you have more classes on other scriptures on daily basis. But this is very important because with philosophy you understand why you are doing what you are doing. So why I am chanting, why I am here in Vrindavan, why I serve the deities, the devotees, etc. Without the philosophy, after a while you don't understand why you are a devotee. So the mixture of chanting, pastimes, and philosophy, it works. It works. So again, philosophy is to justify what you are doing. And so the Srimad Bhagavatam, the verse, today's verse, actually begins a few verses that you have already studied. You know, in this chapter, Krishna is giving us knowledge of something before becoming devotees we didn't know. As a young boys and girls, we were questioning ourselves and people. God exists. Of course God exists, because there is no justification why God does not exist. It's way easier to demonstrate, to prove that God, one God must exist, that God does not exist. That's impossible. We as preachers of Krishna consciousness, not in Vrindavan, everybody knows that God exists, everybody knows that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but in the West it's not so clear. Many people in my preaching career, I met uncountable, innumerable people whose first question is, prove me that God exists. Since we are devoted spiritualists, of course we must think that God exists, but people say, prove it to me. If you prove it to me, maybe I can start understanding your philosophy and maybe practicing some of your disciplines. But if you don't prove me that God exists, we cannot proceed. So my answer in the last years, when I was younger, I was answering in a different way. But now, since I became a little tired of repeating the same things, so I say, okay, you prove me that God does not exist. At least we start 50-50 from the same point, at least. Prove me that God does not exist. Well, we don't see it, so God does not exist. What does it mean? You cannot even see what is behind your head. How can you see God? You know? And scientists, they can reproduce life in laboratory. That's a lie. That's an outright lie. What the scientists do, they take life and they manipulate it. They never created a life from nothing. There was always, and they themselves are alive. So even if they could one day reproduce life from nothing, which again is impossible, but they are alive. So the life, the life input is always necessary. So life does not come from death. Life comes from life. There is a very nice book by Srila Prabhupada where he explained this point very nicely. And but if we say you cannot prove that something comes from nothing, you cannot prove it. But I can prove it that something comes from something. So I am in advantage. I can win my discussion because nobody came from nobody. I came from my mother and father. You also came from a mother and father. There is no living entity that came from nothing. There is always some origin of life. So since the life without an alive intervention is impossible, then that means that God must exist. And somebody will say, well, why God must exist? Why life cannot come out by itself? Well, again, prove it. You prove that life doesn't come from the supreme life, the person who is supremely alive. Because life must come from someone who is alive. And life, there is no death inside life, because life is alive. You know? So then, if there is no death within the life, because it's a contradiction in terms, then absolutely we have to deduce that life is eternal. Because if there is no death into life, it means that life is eternal. So that means that we always lived, and it is proving a supreme person behind any life. It is very, very easy. It's very, very easy. But maybe we can talk about that another day. So in this material world, people come when they don't want to be with God. That's what Srila Prabhupada told us that over and over. You are in this material world because you don't want to be with God. Why? Because being God, in your vision, in perfect vision, is very desirable, when actually it is not. It is not. There is a reason why there is only one God. If you allow me a joke, it's like there is only one God because nobody else wants to be God. Only Krishna wants to be God because that's his position. Everybody else wants to be servant because being servant is better than being God. Because when you loving someone else is superior than being loved. Anyone who had a wife or a friend understands this human, which is also a divine psychology, that being loved is better than love. Because when you love, you don't know if the other will love you back. But when you love, then that is enough. You don't need to be loved back when you love. But when you are the person loved, and you love somebody else, and that person must reciprocate, or you don't feel satisfied. That's human psychology. Anyone will tell you. You know, that's very easy to understand. For those who have been married, like me, who have sons, like me, I don't advise you to get married or anything. I'm just saying that it is a good way to understand this human and divine psychology. So much so that at a certain point, Krishna himself starts to say that he wants to love. Of course, as a person loved, as a Purusha, he can love, but it's not the same thing. Because a Purusha is not a psychological setup to love, as much as the Prakriti, the ones who are by constitution created to love. It's very intense to love somebody. So Krishna thinks, I want to love, but I cannot because I am the one who is loved. So what to do? And everybody knows the answer. You know, everyone here is a big pandit, you know the answer. And he comes as the greatest devotee. The greatest devotee, who is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he comes to taste pure devotional service, and at the same time to teach us how to be the best devotee possible. So that's why for us, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu are so important, because they are those who are teaching us how to be devotees. And we are here for this reason, We are in Vrindavana, or we are in a temple in the west, in the east, everywhere in the world, because we want to be devotees. And here in this verse, it is a description of we are before becoming devotees. Before becoming devotees, we had desires, because we want to be happy. We don't understand the difference between happiness and pleasure. Are two different things. Happiness is happiness when does not end. Pleasure is something, few minutes you eat a pakora, it's very nice, and the pakora get down and finished. That's pleasure. Okay? It's very transient. While happiness is a state of being. You're always happy. Even when you are not happy, happiness does not mean, like word Ananda. Ananda does not mean only happiness. Ananda means the basic transcendental feeling that is equal in all our spiritual relationship. Just like when the gopis cry because Krishna left the arena, they're crying. Are they suffering? There is no suffering in the spiritual world. So it's a different kind of happiness. That's Ananda. Ananda in suffering, Ananda in happiness, Ananda in laughing, Ananda in crying. Everything is because there is no difference in the spiritual world between one type of emotion and the other type of emotion. All emotions are similarly transcendental and fully tasteful. But before becoming a devotee, we did not understand this principle. We actually didn't know that happiness existed. We thought only pleasure existed. So everybody, all the materialistic people, they're always crazy about making money and finding women and finding children and friends and sport and cars and all this, because they think only pleasure exists. There is no happiness. Cannot exist happiness because I'm going to die. Even the most stupid man on the earth, he understands that he's going to die. So there is no happiness. Everything will finish. So, and they try and try and try, and what's the result? It's always the same thing. A couple of minutes of pleasure, and it's all over. But you cannot feel pleasure 24 hours a day. And the more they experiment pleasure, and the more suffering and frustrated they become, because they want it again. But you cannot feel pleasure 24 hours a day. So the other time that he doesn't feel pleasure, he regrets. And he make big effort to try again, bigger and bigger pleasure, and the bigger the pleasure is, and the more frustrating he becomes when he finishes. And they get crazy. That's why people, they just take their lives. There are so many suicides in the world. Why? Because it's never enough. It's never enough because it's actually never enough. There is no enough. Because this is this is a law of nature. This is how the material world is built up. This material world is built up in such a way that everything we do, everything we feel, everything we have, since at the beginning, will have an end. Just like our life, our body. Birth and then death. The whole world is like this. The whole world. There is no happiness because everything finishes again. So there are different types of men who get to Krishna consciousness, and we, as lifetime preachers, we have seen them all. We have seen people, very poor people, who come to the temple and eat prasadam because we distributed it free of charge. I don't know now, but during Prabhupada times, prasada was free for everybody. Actually, Prabhupada said, that prasada should never be paid, unless you go to the MVT restaurant, of course. Otherwise, the prasada should be given free of charge. And Prabhupada said, within 15 kilometers array of our temple, nobody should starve. Everyone should have prasada. And Srila Prabhupada said, we are a kitchen movement. I remember, and as a young boy, we had a big pot at the entrance of the temple with gulab jamun. And everybody would enter into the temple, there was one scoop, and will take the gulab jamun. Everybody. Very sweet times, you know. And gulab jamun was like, we made so many devotees with gulab jamun. Srila Prabhupada called them ISKCON bullet. You know, you say, and your Maya dies. We made so many devotees with gulab jamun and halava. You know, there was so nice. I would love to see a temple again with a big pot at the entrance of the temple with full of gulab jamun, and everybody take. It would be so nice. It could be like going back to the past of our youth. So people come because they don't have money, some of them. And why they don't have money? Because they didn't deserve it. According to our philosophy, there is no victims. You cannot say, oh, I don't have money. Why I don't have money? I'm capable. I'm not stupid. Why I'm not able to make money? But then you don't understand our philosophy. The philosophy is that you cannot fight against your own results. And you did something, and that's why you are getting little money, lot of money, health, or disease. There is nothing you can do. Of course, you can come to Krishna consciousness, or you can study the Vedas and understand how to change your karma or project another karma in the future. But nobody should complain that, oh God, why you are doing this to me? Because He's not doing this to you. You did it to yourself. This is called law of karma. And when we understand this philosophical principle, then our life becomes peaceful. Because you accept it. Yes, I am, that's what I did. Nobody is. I am not a victim. This is the first type of person. And then those who are distressed. The first type is someone who really doesn't have the money, because man, in its infinite stupidity, has created something called money. And money is not free of charge. It would be nice. The government gives money to everybody. There is no reason why not to give it. I always have thought, how would be a society without having to work for money? But working because this is your duty. So someone told me, oh, nobody will work. I don't think so. I don't think so. There are so many devotees in our movement, all of us. Nobody of us works. No, we are not paid. I've never been paid. I've been preaching since my youth, and nobody gives me 1 cent. So, and I did it only because Srila Prabhupada told us to do it. So I'm totally convinced if there is a right education, a different type of economy in our society could change. But this is something else. I don't have the power to change a society. So to get money, to eat and have a house, you have to work. You have to work hard. And when you don't make it, then you suffer. And then you are distressed because so many reasons, everything goes south on your life, your children, you love them so much, and then they grow up, Hare Krishna Pita, see you, goodbye, and you are alone in your old age, and your son do not do anything for you. Wives and friends and health, goodbye, you are old now, I don't help you anymore. And then you come to the Krishna consciousness, you understand the philosophy, then everything makes sense. Everything becomes logic. And then you become a devotee because you understand that you are distressed because this is what the material world is supposed to be. It's not you. It's just the world is like this. There is no happy man in this world. Anyone who thinks this is living in a delusion. There is no happy man. The more you have, the less happy you are. Because the more you have, the more you realize that that was not what was needed to you to be happy. You know, poor people, they have an excuse to suffer. I suffer because I don't have money. By rich men, what excuse they gives it to be unhappy? There is no excuse. That being safe or feeling safe in this material world is not the reason for our happiness. So they become a devotee, sometimes because they don't have money, sometimes because they are sick, because they are mentally sick. You know, he's tired, he doesn't understand what's going on in this life. And then there is a third type, which is a better type. You know, the better type is the one who is intelligent. Is intelligent and looks around himself and say, what is this? What's the sense of my life? When you are young and then you look to your parents and your society and you think, what is this? I don't want any of this. What is the reason? What is the reason why I should work, make money and die? Give me one reason, then I will do it. But without a reason, why should I waste the whole of my life just to have the same thing that cats and dogs, they have free of charge without paying taxes or anything, you know? They just live like us. They have a different body, a different subtle body, but they have the same thing. Then when someone is intelligent, then he starts to make questions. First to himself. What is this? Do you want to be like your father? You want to work in a bank like your father? And then you feel like, no, I don't want that. My father is miserable. You know, why should I? He's getting old, and his wife, my mother, is obviously doesn't like him anymore because he's getting fat and everything. So do I want this? Enjoy a woman for a few years and then become fat and she goes somewhere else or whatever, or just doesn't love me anymore? No, I want something different. There must be something different. And what is the proof that there is something different? Because you want it. It's impossible to want something that doesn't exist at all. Because the human nature is made of the possibilities. So if you desire something, that something must be somewhere. You just don't know where, but there must be somewhere. So the intelligent person starts to think, I want to know God. If there is God, I want to know God. And the most intelligent understand that he cannot understand God. He should not look for God. He should look for somebody who knows God. Just like you cannot go to the President of India, you should go to some secretary, to some minister. You cannot go directly to Mr. President. So when because God is something that you don't see, you don't hear, and the Guru, you hear him, you see him. So it's near to you. Well, God is just a creation of your mind, it's a creation of your emotion. So it's imperceptible, you cannot touch it, you cannot hear it, it's just your own mental speculation. It's not real. What the Guru is real. It's a person. The Guru should be a person, not somebody says, that everybody should be disciple of Srila Prabhupada, crazy stuff like that. A Guru should be in person, flesh and bones in front of you, should speak your language, so that you can put questions. That's the Guru. And then these are the intelligent people, the inquisitive. And the best type of Inquisitive is someone who already knows what he wants. He wants the spiritual world. How does he get to the point of desiring directly the spiritual world? That's not, very difficult. Not many people are like that. Most of us, they want knowledge. They don't want devotion, because we don't know what devotion is. We don't know how to get it. So the inquisitive people are the philosophical type of person. And those who look for the absolute truth is those who already have knowledge. And by knowledge, you understand that the only way to live the knowledge is by devotion. It's by devotion. How can you enter into my apartment? How? Only one way. If I let you in. And to let you in, you must be my friend. If you are somebody I don't like, or someone I don't know, I will not open the door. So if you are my friend, welcome. But if you are not, come tomorrow, or come another day. So devotion is making friendship with God, with Krishna. It's the only way we can get back to the spiritual world, because he is the only one who let us in. We cannot go in the spiritual world telling him, I did a lot of karma, I have a lot of money, or, I'm a big yogi, I have powers, I can fly, I can do so many things. And Krishna say, I'm a Yogeshvara, I have all your powers multiplied by 1 billion. You don't impress me. Oh, I have a lot of money. I have more than you. The whole universe is mine. I created. You cannot go to Krishna trying to impress him. You have to make it such a way that he loves you. And how be loved to Krishna? By service. Krishna, I want to do this for you. How do you please your friend or wife or husband? How do you do it? You give him something. No? You give her something. And she says, oh, thank you very much. You have been very kind to me. So the same with Krishna. You have to give him something. And he says, oh, thank you very much. No, I'm not thanking you for what you are giving me. I'm thanking you because you are giving me. Because you have this desire to give. And that is bhakti. And bhakti becomes prema one day. Bhakti and prema are not the same thing. Bhakti is trying to develop prema. Prema is when we become completely pure, and then we love Krishna, not because we are inquisitive, not because we want anything, but just because we accept that Krishna knows better than us what we need. You don't need to ask Krishna, Krishna, I need this. Because he may give you, and maybe that was not the thing that you really needed. He knows better than you. He's in our heart, he knows. Maybe, oh, Krishna, give me more money. And maybe having more money is going to ruin your spiritual life. And Krishna knows better than you. And maybe Krishna said, no, you have to be poor for 20 years, and then I will give you better. So this is the philosophy of bhakti. Trying to impress Krishna by selflessly, without interest. I know that is something very far from us right now, maybe for me, maybe not for you. But anyway, the principle is that we should try to impress Krishna by doing something for him. And to finish, I want to say also another thing. What is the best way to please Krishna? Let's say I have a son, he's 46, he's not a child anymore, but still, even if he is a grown-up man, I can tell you one thing. If you want to please me, don't try to please me. Try to please him. Why? Because I love him. I love my son more than I love myself. because this is a normal human psychology that we take from Krishna. We take from the spiritual world. You want to please Krishna? Please his pure devotee. Please the Guru. Please the devotees. Please the Murtis. Don't say, no, I don't go to the temple because I am doing puja to Krishna. No, go outside and try to do something for the devotee. Okay, I think that's it for today. If there is any question, I will try to answer.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thanks for the wonderful lecture. First time I got the clarity.
You should yell because I'm deaf.
Loudly.
Loud.
Okay, thanks for the wonderful lecture. First time I got the clear differentiation between pleasure and happiness. Earlier times when I used to tell other people that the happiness that we are getting is very for short time, but the people didn't accept. But now I think I had something to tell them more. One more clarification I would just need. You gave me an example of rasgullas that people go and
Gulab jamun.
Gulab jamun, sorry. So they take gulab jamun. A devotee takes the gulab jamun. He sees the gulab jamun as a prasadam. He gets the pleasure or happiness. He gets the happiness, I suppose. But a non-devotee goes, he thinks that this is a sweet. So he tastes it and gets the sweet taste of it. So what does he get? Does he get happiness or pleasure?
Let's say you have a disease. And to cure this disease, you need a medicine. But you don't want to take it because all medicines are horrible. Are bitter and nothing. So I hide it. I hide the medicine between a little piece of sugar. You take the sugar. You want the sugar. You don't want the medicine, but you don't know that inside there is a medicine. In your opinion, the medicine will work, although you don't know that you are taking medicine, or you need to know the medicine. Just like we chant Hare Krishna, we basically know, but we really do not know how powerful the names, the Krishna, are. So we get purified, although we don't know that we are getting purified. Does not matter if you know the gulab jamun, that you know how they are made, who is the cook, doesn't matter. The gulab jamun is a gulab jamun. It's offered to Krishna and is going to work. If you know that it's prasadam, of course you will get more benefit because you are doing it for devotion. But those who take the gulab jamun, even without knowing that it's prasada, because it is prasada, it's a spiritual medicine, they will get benefit. Hare Krishna.
Thanks for the wonderful class. And as you were saying that you don't work, you don't work like you depend on Krishna. You are doing the preaching work yourself. You're not working for money. You're just doing the preaching work. And I, being the Garesta, I'm now 58 years old, and I feel like sometimes it's time up for me to also to give up do attachments, other things. But still I'm getting involved, we go to children's getting married and other things that is keep coming. So how should I, what can you guide me, what exactly I should be like? Because I do some work also,
Yes. So to give a personal advices is very dangerous because I don't know you. Maybe I will give an advice that is bad for you. Maybe it's good for him, it's not good for you. I should know exactly your situation, your children, your wife, etc. Because in the beginning of our movement, everybody was taking sannyas, so many sannyasis. Even devotees who were married, they just took sannyas. So after Srila Prabhupada said, no, we don't do that anymore. And now, if you want to take sannyas, your wife has to sign a paper. So, of course, there are so many stories. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not have any certificate from his wife. He just left. And at the same time, we have the example of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, who wanted to leave the family. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told him, no, not yet. He was married, and his parents loved him so much. So it is very subjective. It's very subjective, and you should have somebody who knows you to give you the right advice. And because any advice can be good or bad. And when the advice is bad, it's bad. And I get the karma and I don't want it. So, but one thing, there is no doubt that you can do, just meditate on renunciation. In your heart, you think, like you close the eyes. I see many devotees closing the eyes in front of the deities. Oh, please, why you should close the eyes in front of the deities? But if you are in the middle of the city, close your eyes and meditate. So, and you meditate just like Sanatana Goswami was doing, I don't remember, very nice places. He meditated in cooking. And his meditation was real, although it wasn't physically real, and he even burned by touching the hot milk in meditation. He burned his finger. So that happened in Pavana Sarovar and happened also in the other place below Nandagram. What's the place? My memory is going away. Anyway, just meditation. And meditation is as good as actually doing it if you cannot do it. Meditation should not be an excuse for not doing something. Okay? But if we cannot doing something, and I don't know if you can or cannot, then you do what you want to do by meditation. And Krishna says he cannot do it. Because by karma or because he doesn't want it yet, because you are not ready. We have so many devotees who took important position in our movement. After some time they fell down because they were not ready. Okay? So better not to fall down. Better not. So if you do it in meditation, you can fall down, doesn't time, nothing happens, but you do something like leaving your family and then you regret it. And when you regret it, human nature is so bad that you don't go back to the old wife. You're going to find another one, which is the worst of the worst. So don't do that. Stay in your family until you're ready. And I cannot tell you when and if you are ready, but do everything in meditation. Okay, anything else? Then thank you very much. I remember to be invited by Mataji Parvati at the Prabhupada house many years ago, and then I didn't come back in Vrindavana for many years. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity for Krishna Katha. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.